coming over, Roger, but you don't have to stay. Oh, it's good to see you. It's just that I'm okay. Really. Matter of fact, I'm kind of looking forward to it. This year I get to do Christmas my way. There's a certain freedom in being single that I've forgotten all about. For instance, no more traveling between her family and my family. No more of her mother's cooking. No more of her mother, period. And for the first time in my adult life, I get to decorate the Christmas tree and put the star at the top. She was so anal about the tree. Every couple of years, we had to buy all new ornaments, and she had this big plastic organizer thing with ornaments on one side and hooks on the other. Oh, and get this, every year we had to put the ornaments away in reverse order. That way, the first ornament out of the box was the first one on the tree. It was like Christmas with Martha fucking Stewart, except worse.
Thanks for coming over. I could use the company. Everybody warned me that the first would be the hardest. The first night alone, the first anniversary, first Christmas. But I'm enjoying the first more than I thought I would. For instance, my first night alone, I slept in the middle of the bed and put my arms and legs in each corner, and I snored as loud as I wanted to. I finally get to order pizza with pineapples on it. We got married so young that I never got to enjoy being myself. You can see why people stay single so long. He was such a slob. The house is finally neat and clean. He would just throw his dirty laundry on the floor, toss his dishes in the sink. I felt like I was always either picking up after him or nagging him to pick up after himself. I felt like his mother. He just didn't have respect for things. We were constantly having to replace the things we had because he didn't take care of what we had. This time of year was the worst. He had these ratty old ornaments that were all falling apart. He would just toss them on the tree, didn't care how they went on. And then after New Year's, he'd just toss them back in the box, in this moldy old cardboard box, hooks and all. Decorating the tree took forever because we never knew where anything was, and we spent half the time untangling the ornaments and fixing the lights. Something that should take an hour was dragged out half the night.
She rushed the whole process. I mean, decorating the Christmas tree is supposed to be a fun thing that you do together as a family. I look forward to doing it with her every year. I wanted to establish a tradition so that when we had kids, we would have these traditions that were ours. I wanted to relax and enjoy it, but she was just so uptight.
I mean, if we had kids, it would be different, but I am so glad not to have to compromise about every little thing. For the first time, I get to decorate the tree the way it should be decorated. I mean, this is a tree I can be proud of. This is a tree that when people come over, it will start conversations.
It was like a contest with her. I mean, she was keeping up with the Christmas Joneses. I don't think she ever caught on that nobody cared.
I don't think he ever understood that people notice things like this.
She had no appreciation for what was important
to me. And he drank. Not so much that you'd notice, but let's just say around this time of year, I always had to be the designated driver.
I need a drink. Roger, you want anything?
I'm sorry. I don't mean to just talk about him all night. I need to move on. He left me. That was his choice, and I need to move on.
I'm sorry. We need to talk about something else. I mean, she kicked me out. She had every reason to. She's moving on, and so should I. Besides, this year, I get to put the star at the top of the Christmas tree. Every Christmas Eve, when I was growing up, I knew it was time to go up and wait for Santa because my dad would put the star at the top of the tree. It was a tradition. But to her, tradition didn't count for much.
For our first Christmas together, my mom made us this beautiful angel to go at the top of our tree. He hated it. But this year, I get to put it at the top of our tree without an argument. There. That's perfect. I don't know what he had against my mother. She loved him.
God, her mother hated me. I mean, she never really came out and said it, but I always got the impression that she didn't think I was good enough for her daughter. It's hard to bond with somebody when they're constantly looking down their nose at you. Look at that tree. This is a tree that says somebody lives here. This is a tree that has a story behind it. This isn't some fucking Neiman Marcus cookie cutter tree. Oh, and the best part is, there's not a single bit of tinsel anywhere to be found.
There. That's nice. He never would have wanted a tree like this. At least I think he wouldn't have. It was hard to tell what was going on with him sometimes. He grew more and more distant towards the end. My mother was convinced he was having an affair, but I don't think that was possible. Wait, he really didn't care about anything. I don't think he could have cared about another woman. But I looked forward to Christmas every year because I thought, this year we will have enough time to fix whatever's wrong. You know, we were always so busy. I was always so busy with school, and he was always so busy with work that we just didn't have time to be together. The more time we had together, the less time we had to talk. There was this moment when I knew that it was over. But before this, I thought we could fix it. But after this moment, I knew that it was over. We were at our third marriage counseling session, and the counselor looked right at me and she said, I have counseled dozens of couples with problems far worse than yours, and yet they managed to survive because they wanted more than anything for their marriage to survive. But I've also counseled couples with very trivial problems who don't manage to survive because one or both of the partners just don't want to fix it. And it was like this sudden burst of clarity. I thought, oh, if we work really hard and we commit to each other, that I know that we can make this work. I know that we can fix this. And I was full of hope for the first time in years. And I looked over at David, and I could tell by the look on his face that he wasn't thinking the same thing. That's when I knew it was over.
I can't put my finger on when exactly it was over. I mean, it's not like there was some event that separated the good times from the bad times. Our whole relationship just sort of evaporated over time. The one thing I do know, it was over for me before it was over for her. Everything was fine, and we were busy, and we didn't have to think about it, but especially during Christmas, when you have to spend so much time alone together, we just forgot what to do. You know, we never really fought much, at least not about anything important. Towards the end, we mainly just avoided each other. You know, it's not like being with her was so unpleasant. It's just that being with her started to remind me of all the things we didn't have in our relationship, all the things that we weren't achieving. It got to the point where sometimes she would come home late at night and I would pretend I was asleep so I didn't have to talk to her. And what's worse is, I think she knew. And she never said anything. Avoiding confrontation was one of our strengths. Oh, God. Oh, it's Christmas. We need to talk about something else. Let me ask you something, Roger. I hear she's dating somebody. Do you know the guy?
I hear he's dating some slut. I'm sorry. That sounded rude. I'm okay with it, I guess. I mean, if that's what he needs to get him through, it's not my business. But it seems inappropriate, don't you think? Of course, I have no room to talk. If he knew about me and Roger, he would die. Ooh. But I don't feel bad about it. I mean, being with Roger, it makes me feel good. Roger makes me feel beautiful. I haven't felt that way in a long time.
Because, you know, if they knew each other back when we were married, maybe they started dating before we split up. Maybe they... Well, I know I don't really have much room to talk, but still, it seems odd don't you think?
Whatever. It's over, and there's nothing left. There's nothing left to talk about.
You know, throughout the whole divorce process, we never really fought about who would get what stuff. I mean, I had my stuff from before we were married, which she hated, and she had her stuff, which I was happy to let go, and we just divided up the rest. We had such different tastes, it just never really mattered. I did get screwed on the jewelry, though. She wanted to keep everything that we had given each other, and to avoid confrontation, I gave in. But the thing is, all I had was a wedding band. I spent over $1,000 on her engagement ring alone, and when I sold my wedding band at the pawn shop, I got $17. I took myself out to lunch afterwards to celebrate. If I had just gotten the 18-karat ring like I had wanted, then I would have had enough to supersize my combo meal. I did get some of the things I wanted, though. Like this ornament. We bought this on our honeymoon. I always liked it. She wanted to keep it, but I never knew why. I mean, I'm the one who collects trains anyway. She just did it to piss me off, so I let her have it. Then one day, while she was at a faculty meeting, I snuck into the house. This was before she changed the locks. And I went into the attic, and I took it. I guess we lost the back half at some point. But I've got the engine, and now it goes on my Christmas tree where it belongs.
David wanted this ornament. It was the only thing we argued about when we were dividing things up. But I just couldn't let it go. I think it reminds me of a time when we were happy. Even though there's part of it missing and I only have the back half, I can't explain it, but I need it. Maybe next year I can let it go. But for now, I think it looks good. Right where it is.